So I've now been an agent at Real Broker for a little over a month now, and I wanted to hop on here and give you my honest review of the company, what that first month has been like for me. And I'll be honest, there are some aspects to the company that I feel like could use some improvements. Then there's some other aspects to it that far exceeded my expectations, and I am very happy with. So let's start off by talking about the onboarding process to the company, because this is actually one of the areas that I felt like it could use some improvements. And by onboarding, I mean, how do they help you transition into the company? How do they get you up to speed on how to use all their software and tools and resources? How do you submit contracts for compliance? How do you know where to go when you have a question? Now, when you first join, after you sign your ICA, your independent contract agreement, after you get your license transferred over to Real, you're now an agent at Real, they send you a welcome email that has a few of the first steps that they recommend that you take. But the challenge is that it doesn't have all the steps that you need to take. You're also going to get some additional emails with additional links in them. And even those emails is not going to cover everything, right? You're ultimately going to have to do some digging into these different softwares to kind of figure out where to go to find everything. And this whole process was a little frustrating for me. It took me a while to really figure out where to find everything with all the resources that they give you. And I'll be honest, even a month in, I know where to find like 95% of the stuff. There's still a few like hidden gems that I'm not really sure where to go to find these different aspects. Now, luckily, Real does have a lot of great resources that you can use to get acclimated to the company. For starters, they have a bunch of really great FAQs. So if you want to know, where do I get business cards from? You go to the FAQ, you search for it, it provides you the link of where to get business cards, right? Something like that's pretty easy. They also have their Real Academy and their knowledge library within the Real Academy that has tons of video training on how to use the different software within the company. Now, it took me a little while to figure out where to find this at, but after I found this, I was like, okay, finally I found it. And there was a bunch of video training on how to use the different software and kind of how to navigate the different software as well. I thought that was very helpful. They also have a live chat feature on their app. So if you have a burning question, you can ask them on this chat feature and they'll help you with that. You can also contact your broker. The first few days of the company, I was reaching out to my broker quite a bit just to get a couple Maryland-specific questions taken care of. And the final resource is going to be anybody in your upline. So they have a really fantastic revenue share model here at Real, which I'll talk about later on. But you have people that are in your upline that are incentivized to help you out get adjusted in your business. And I was relying on them quite a bit of, hey, where do I get this link at? How do I find this? I was asking the people in my upline. So Real does have a lot of good resources. They have all that information that you need to get up to speed on everything. But in my personal opinion, I felt like it's just a little disjointed. I got some of it here, then some of it here, some of it there, and I had to kind of go hunting around to find everything. And I feel like that entire process could have been a lot smoother. For starters, that initial email that they sent you, I wish they would just expand on that. Have everything that you need in that one email, so you just kind of go down the list to get adjusted to the company. I also wish that they just had like one overarching video training that can walk you through everything from where to find resources to how to get business cards, how to submit contracts for compliance. Just have one like series or one big video that I can watch to really get adjusted. Now, to be fair, when I joined my last brokerage, which was with Keller Williams Realty, they have a franchise model. So every single individual Keller Williams franchise does things a little bit differently. So when I was getting up to speed and kind of onboarded in that process was a nightmare. They didn't have any video training or any resources. You know, it would be go talk to this person in financing, and then go talk to this person, and then come by next week for some in-person training class on how to use the different software. It was a real pain in the neck getting caught up to speed. And with a franchise model, every franchise does things just a little bit differently. So I will say that the process of getting onboarding with Real was a lot smoother than it ever was when I got onboarded with Keller Williams. But I still felt like it could use some improvement, and I was a little lost the first few days that I was at Real. But to help out with this problem, I've actually written my own article, the first 10 things that you should do after joining Real Broker. Kind of my unofficial guide that walks you through all these different steps and really the first 10 things that I recommend that you do. Anything from where to get business cards to how to download the app to how to promote yourself on Facebook. Because they actually have like a little template that you can download and put your face in there saying, I joined Real. So I kind of walk you through how to find that template, which was challenging for me at first, and then kind of how to use it and upload it to Facebook. So I'll have a link to this article down in the description below if you guys are interested in this. And I just wish that Real had an official article like that, maybe a video or a video series that kind of went along with that. So one resource that would totally answer all of my questions rather than having multiple small resources here and there that I have to kind of figure out and piece together on my own. So next, let's talk about the technology that you get access to at Real Broker. And this is one of the areas that exceeded my expectations. I am very, very happy with the technology that they give us at Real Broker. Now, just for reference, I'm coming from Keller Williams Realty. I was there for the past 5 years, and they've got a very different approach to software and technology than Real Broker does. Gary Keller is very protective of the data within our industry, and so he opted to hire programmers and build all the software that we use from scratch. And he even declared that Keller Williams is now a technology company. And on paper, this sounds good, but in practice, that was a very bumpy road, and kind of the rollout of that software really did not go very smoothly. And personally, I was very, very frustrated with all the software that Keller Williams provided to us. I didn't think that it worked very well. I didn't think that the user interface was very well. It just wasn't all that functional. And the software aspect of Keller Williams really frustrated me personally as a user and as an agent. Now, Real has taken a different approach. Most of the software that they provide you is commercial and off-the-shelf software. And this does provide a lot of advantages, in my opinion. For one thing, they can kind of shop around. They can find the best software out there to provide their agents. That software is usually going to run a lot smoother, a lot fewer bugs within the software. And those software companies provide excellent support, right? Those are all features that I wasn't getting with the software at Keller Williams. So with Real Broker, you get some industry-leading, top-notch, excellent software that you get access to as an agent here. So the first piece of software I want to talk about is SkySlope. So SkySlope is the software that you use for contract compliance. Now, when I first opened up SkySlope, I was like, okay, this looks pretty basic. And it is. It does one thing and it does that thing very well. But after I got used to SkySlope, I was very, very happy with it. So when you get a house under contract, you need to create a new transaction in SkySlope, enter some basic information about that contract, and then you can upload the entire contract as one PDF. You then just need to specify where in that PDF each of the required documents is. So where in that PDF is the buyer-broker agreement? You just say page 1 through 3. Where in the PDF is the inclusions and exclusions? Page 17 through 20. And that's it. You kind of specify where in the PDF to find these individual documents, and then you submit it. Your broker is then going to review those documents, and if there's any problems, they can actually leave you a little message for that specific document within SkySlope. So they can say, hey, you missed a signature on page 3 of this document. I feel like this is a very easy and simple process. I am very happy with this. I don't want to bash Keller Williams too much, but they use something called KW Command, which they generated themselves. And it was a very cumbersome process to submit contracts for compliance. One of the things I look at when I'm evaluating software is how many clicks with your mouse do you need to make, right? You want it to be as efficient as possible, so you don't have to click a whole lot. With KW Command, I had to go through so many dang menus and screens and click and go back and forth all over the place. With this, I find it a very easy process. It takes me far less time to submit a contract for compliance using SkySlope than it ever did when I was with Keller Williams and had to use KW Command. So SkySlope, it's very basic, it does its job, but it does its job well, and I'm very happy with SkySlope. So next, let's talk about Workplace. So Workplace is actually created by Facebook for businesses. I think of it as a series of Facebook groups, but only one company can access that. And you start chats with groups of people and message each other. You can share documents with Workplace as well. And Workplace is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. If you're familiar with how to use Facebook, you're easily going to transition over to using Workplace. And each state has their own group for people within that state. So it's a great way to ask state-specific questions within your state's group. Workplace is also where you can access the Real Academy, which has a bunch of live training every single week and has their knowledge library, which is recorded training that you can go back and watch. And these trainings cover everything of how to use Workplace, how to use SkySlope, how to use Chime and the different software, but also things like how to be successful on YouTube and run Facebook ads and how to be crush it with listing presentations and just general real estate tips and advice. They have all this exclusive training within Workplace. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really use Workplace nearly as much as I probably could. I know other people are very active on there, and we have about 2,000 agents in Real right now. And I feel like as Real grows, it's probably gonna get a lot more engagement within Workplace. So I may be more incentivized to get more active in there. But as of right now, like, it's a cool feature. I use it every now and then when I have a specific question or want to access some training. It's not really something that I log into every day, or even maybe once a week I'll log into Workplace and just kind of see what everybody's talking about. So next, let's talk about Chime. So Chime is a very impressive CRM and website. This is industry-leading software. This is some of the best software out there for real estate agents right now. Chime typically charges $500 a month for their CRM and their website. As a Real agent, you can get Chime as an option for only $25 a month. I've now known 2 different people that were paying $500 a month for Chime, and they joined Real in order to get that huge discount. So they're saving almost $6,000 a year by joining Real and still using Chime. And Chime is really in-depth and very powerful, has some industry-leading tools within Chime, and a lot of people use it for lead generation. They build a website using it, then they just run Facebook ads or Google pay-per-click ads to their Chime website to generate leads for their businesses. And I'll be honest, I've only scratched the surface of all the features that I can use with Chime. I'm really just using it as a basic CRM right now, but it has some really powerful features. I could probably spend 10 hours just watching training and learning how to use all that and really using that to its fullest potential. So I am very happy with Chime. It far exceeds my expectations and is a very powerful and customizable website and very powerful CRM. So next, let's talk about the Real Broker Agent app. So as much as I love Chime, that is not even my favorite piece of software that they give you at Real Broker. My favorite piece of technology and software is the Real Broker Agent app that they give you. And why I love this is because when you open up the app, it gives you all the information about all your current transactions that are under contract right now, as well as all the data about your past performance. How many transactions did you close last month? How much GCI did you earn? You know, all this data is literally right here at your fingertips on your app, and I absolutely love that. I can easily see when my next transaction is closing, what my projected commission is going to be for that, and also easily shows you all the data about how much stock that you've purchased in the company if you opted into their stock bonus program. It shows you how much money you've earned from revenue share, as well as how many people are in your downline. All that data and a lot more is literally right here, right on the app on the very first homepage, and I love that. It also shows you how much you've paid towards your cap so far and how much of your each transactions that you have under contract right now, how much of that commission is going to go towards your cap. And I love that. I love all that transparency and having all that information and knowledge right there on my phone at my fingertips. Going back to when I was with Keller Williams, in order for me to find a lot of this data, I had to log into a computer, navigate to a website, navigate through a few different menus just to find like an ugly spreadsheet, and then I'd have to go and find a different spreadsheet for something else, and then for me to figure out how much of my cap that I've paid towards the brokerage. That's based on each individual franchise. So I'd have to go to my office manager to figure out how much I have left paying towards my cap. It was a terrible process, incredibly cumbersome just to find my own data about my business. And I absolutely love that I can see all of that right here on my phone. And I often find myself just kind of scrolling around looking at my data and looking at, you know, how much money I made last month, how much money I'm making a revenue share, how much stock that I own in the company. I just kind of play around and look at the app and look at that information. Their app is also where you can find the frequently asked question guides, as well as talk directly with a chat. You can also find all your broker's contact information, and a bunch more really useful information is all right there in the app. So as far as the agent app, I love it. I've had a great experience with that. Now they do also have an app for your consumers. I've downloaded it, I've kind of played around with it. I wasn't that impressed with their consumer-facing app. Even when I was at Keller Williams, I never really used my consumer apps all that much. So for me, that's not really a big deal. Now, apparently they are coming out with a new app. They're kind of developing it and working on it right now. So I feel like they're probably going to be fixing that issue right now. But for me, that wasn't really a big factor. But I am very, very happy with their agent-facing app. Their consumer app is like, it's pretty generic. So next, let's talk about giving up access to a physical office. This is one of the most common questions that I get about working at a cloud-based brokerage. And so has giving up access to my brokerage's office impacted my business any? No, not even a small amount. Not having access to that has had zero impact on my business. You know, let's face it, in 2020, all of our businesses went digital anyway. All of our brokerages went digital. All the training was done through Facebook live streams. All your checks are mailed directly to you. All the contracts are written on your computer or on your phone. You just really don't need a physical office anymore in today's industry. All of my buyer consultations that I do with clients is now through video calls. I find it far more convenient. I think that they find it far more convenient as well. Now, if I ever do get a client that really wants to meet me face to face, I typically just schedule an appointment to meet them at a local Starbucks and sit down and buy them a cup of coffee. Or I reserve a conference room at my title company or my lender's office. They are more than eager, more than happy to do you a favor and let you use their conference rooms. And frankly, using the conference rooms is like the only reason I would ever actually go into my old brokerage. And so now I just use the conference rooms for my lender and my title company. Now I totally get that there are some people that don't have a home office like this and that they really need to go to a physical location. They need that family work separation. And I totally get that. For somebody like that, I would first encourage you to figure out how much money would you save by joining a company like Real Broker. For me, my cap at Keller Williams was $28,000 a year, plus I was paying $6,000 a year to have an office within my brokerage. Now I pay a $12,000 cap to Real, so I'm saving $22,000 a year. Now ask yourself, could you rent out a office space somewhere for $22,000 a year? Yes, of course you could. For only a fraction of that, you could go get your own office somewhere in your city, probably even more convenient than wherever your brokerage is with. You could even reach out to your title company or one of your local lenders and say, hey, do you guys have any extra office spaces that I can rent from you? They'd probably be more than eager to have you renting a space in their office. So for me personally, giving up access to my broker's office has had zero negative impact on my business. If anything, it's had a positive impact because I used to commute about 45 minutes there and back 5 days a week. So now I've got more free time to work or spend that time with my family. So next, let's talk about the fees at Real Broker. So when I first saw the fees, I was like, that can't be right. How is it that cheap? And when I first joined, I was keeping an eye out for any hidden fees or any upsells that I wasn't aware of when I first, signed on to Real Broker. And I'm happy to report that there aren't any hidden fees or any upsells or any other additional costs that's not reported on the Real Broker's website. They have a $12,000 cap. They have an 85-15 split. They have a $149 sign-up fee. They have a $500 annual fee that gets taken on the first 2 transactions of your month. And after you cap, then there's a transaction fee for each transaction that you have. And that's it. And I was fully aware of all those fees up front. Now there is one additional fee that is optional, and that's if you want to sign up for Chime. It's an additional $25 a month. And I actually like that they structured it like that because a lot of us already have CRMs or we already have websites. We may not want to use that. So I'm very happy they didn't make that a requirement. Keller Williams had something like that. They had eEdge, which was a really cumbersome and bad CRM that they required that you have, and they every month charge you a technology fee. and you had to pay for this thing whether you used it or not. So I'm very happy that Real did not go that route. They provide an awesome website and CRM, and it's totally optional if you want to pay that $25 a month. So next, let's talk about revenue share. And revenue share is how Real Broker is growing so quickly, and is very similar to the profit share model that Keller Williams used in order to grow to be the largest real estate company in the world by agent count. And essentially, instead of Real spending money on advertising to get their name out there and promote themselves to agents, they are rewarding the agents who are most influencing people and attracting people to the company. And they do this by giving those agents a portion of the cap of anybody who they attract to the company. This is called revenue share, and out of the $12,000 cap that somebody pays to the company, Real will give the agent that attracted that person to the company $4,000 a year out of that $12,000. And they even give you revenue share going down 5 different tiers. So anybody that agent attracts to the company, you get a revenue share for. Anybody that agent attracts, and that agent attracts, going down 5 tiers. Now on the surface, you're probably saying this sounds like some sort of pyramid scheme, but this is actually a very legitimate model that Keller Williams has used, EXP has used. The other model is that they spend money on advertising through social media and newspapers and magazines and everything else in order to grow the company. But this model of rewarding agents has been very successful in growing a lot of other companies. And this model really incentivizes agents to help each other out within the company. I'll talk a little bit about that later on in the video. But I see revenue share as just an additional stream of income that I can make as a real estate agent for helping kind of spread this message. And I'll be honest, I feel that cloud-based brokerages are 100% the future of our industry. Within 10 years, I would not be surprised if the majority of the agents are with a cloud-based brokerage rather than a franchise-based brokerage. And many of these agents are going to save huge amounts of money. I'm saving $22,000 a year compared to last year when I was with a franchise-based brokerage. So I feel very positive about this mission of spreading this message. I think that this brokerage can have a really positive impact on a lot of real estate agents' lives. And so I feel very good about this. I don't feel like this is a pyramid scheme at all. And within just 1 month at being at this brokerage, I've already had 4 different people sign up to join Real Broker underneath of me. And I've had conversations with a lot more people that are probably gonna sign up down the road. Once you kind of explain this model to somebody and the real benefits to them with this model, you can see the light bulb kind of going off in their heads and like they get it. Now in comparison, I was with Keller Williams Realty for 5 years, and I really tried to attract people to Keller Williams and promote their message and talk about their culture and the training and everything. And within that 5 years, I had 0 people join Keller Williams underneath of me. I really put in a lot of effort, but Keller Williams is also one of the most expensive brokerages out there, and it is very similar to all the other franchise models out there. There's not that much difference between the different companies. But with Real, it is dramatically different. It is a completely different business model. And I think it's really going to benefit a lot of people, and it's 100% the future of the industry. But my point is that I've had a much easier time spreading the message and attracting people to Real than I ever did with Keller Williams. And this revenue share is a very legitimate additional stream of income that you can make as an agent with Real Broker. So next, let's talk about the culture here at Real Broker, right? The culture of a company is pretty important, I think. It's really gonna have a direct impact on your experience within that company. And I'm happy to say that we have a pretty positive culture that's very tech focused and very focused on sharing knowledge and helping one another out. And I think a big factor for that is the incentives that are put into place. And there's really 2 different incentive models put into place here. One of them is going to be the revenue share model. So like I was saying earlier, you can get revenue share for up to 5 different tiers of people joining underneath of you. But this also means that everybody has an upline as well at Real. So that means you have 5 different tiers of people above you that are collecting revenue share on you. And this means that they are incentivized to help you out. I know everybody in my upline, and I've talked to all of them. And when I first joined Real and I was a little confused, a little lost on where to go, I relied on those people in my upline as a resource to help me out. If I succeed as an agent at Real, they all benefit. And if I grow out my downline, it's growing out their downline as well. And likewise, the people that are in my downline, I'll bend over backwards to help them out, right? I am incentivized to do that. I probably do it anyway because I'm a nice guy, but there's a financial incentive for me to give my time up to help them out. And I've hopped on multiple video calls with people, emailed them different resources. If they have a question, they can rely on me as a resource, and I try to make that abundantly clear to all of them. I want them to succeed. I want them to build out their own downline as well. And I'll do whatever I can to help them out. And that is part of the culture here at Real Broker, that everybody helps everybody out. Everybody in my upline helps me out. Everybody in my downline, I help out as well. So when you have questions with something, or you just need help with something, there's almost always somebody that you can go to and use them as a resource. Now, the other big incentive that they have here is their stock program. So at Real, there's multiple ways for you to earn free stock in the company. And there's also a stock buying program. You can buy stocks directly out of your commission and get up to 50% free bonus stocks with that. So if you buy $1,000 worth of stocks, they'll give you $500 worth of free stocks as a bonus. And I think that this is pretty smart and a great incentive as well. It means that almost everybody in the company owns stock in the company. We all want to see that stock go up in price. So we all want to see the company succeed. So that incentivizes all of us to help each other out and help each other's businesses grow. So because of this, you're seeing agents provide as much free knowledge and experience and help as they can through video training, through live sessions, through one-on-one calls with each other. And we're all just kind of sharing our knowledge because we know that this model is absolutely the future, right? We are all part of this cultural revolution within our industry. We're all very excited about that. And we're all going to benefit from Real succeeding as, one company. And I feel like these two incentive models have a very big impact on the culture here at Real. And my experience has been pretty good, right? All the agents are very excited to be part of this revolution and very eager to help me out and help other agents out and kind of share their knowledge and experience. So my overall feelings on Real is that it's still a growing company. One of my friends said that Real is not the best real estate company in the world. They are going to be the best real estate company in the world. And I think that's pretty accurate, right? They have a very strong foundation. They have the incentives in the right place. They have a great business model that is absolutely the future of the industry. Now, they have a few wrinkles that they need to iron out, right? The onboarding process, the app, the consumer-facing app. There's a few areas where they have room for improvement, and they are actively working on that. But the foundation is there, and I am very happy with that. I'm very happy with the culture here, the incentives that they have, the technology that they give you, I'm very happy with as well. And I really feel like this is a industry revolution that's going on right now. And I'm super excited to be at the ground floor of this. 10 years from now, guys, that's my prediction. 10 years from now, we're going to pass the point where the majority of agents are at a cloud-based brokerage rather than a franchise-based brokerage. So if you want to learn more about Real Broker, I want you to email me directly at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com. We can set up a time for a one-on-one video call where I can answer all of your questions, talk to you much more in detail about all the different software and incentive programs that they have here at Real Broker. If you're ready to sign up now, I do have a link down in the description below where you can go and sign up now and sign your ICA. I also have some links down in the description below to a few articles I've written all about being an agent at Real Broker with links to additional resources. You can also click right here to check out my video walking through the process of joining Real Broker. Don't forget to email me at malcolm@livinginmaryland.com to set up your one-on-one video call with myself. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys over in the next video.